What is happening here?
It's not taking an existing caliber and adding a complication.
Yeah.
It's really starting from scratch.
This was the absolute rock star moment. This was the Gerald Genta moment. I'm here with Arnaud, the communications manager of MB&F. Arnaud, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Before we talk about this new piece, I want to ask you something a bit personal. I want to ask you about your jump to MB&F, because as I know it, you used to work at a well-established brand before joining MB&F.
Yep.
And we know that Max is the nicest guy in the watch industry, without a doubt. But he's also right? Like he's doing things that are so risky, creating so many calibers in 1 year, doing things that you have to have a lot of guts to do.
Absolutely.
And to especially bring it to the clients. Like, okay, this is what I've done. So what made you decide to make that jump?
So I made that decision 5 years ago. So I joined Max 5 years ago while I was still working in the region here. So I was based in Singapore, working for, as you mentioned, a big brand. I wanted to go back to Switzerland, but I didn't want to go back to a big firm like the company I was working for before. I didn't want to be just a number in a big team. I wanted to work in a smaller structure where you can bring ideas to the table and be more creative. I've always been quite creative myself, so I was inspired by more creative companies and structure. Mm-hmm. And back then I was 25 years old, and I always said that I prefer to work for people that would inspire me instead of my dream company or whatever. And so I was lucky enough to be contacted while I was still in Singapore by Max. I had a very interesting chat with him for the job interview, and he was very inspiring, like I could guess. And so after that speech, after that meeting, after that discussion, I was convinced that it was the right decision to make. Max is an entrepreneur who wants to be surrounded by entrepreneurs, and so he always ask people to bring new ideas to the table, bring innovation to the company. He's always super open for any suggestion. We have this rule at MB&F, which is always challenge and try. Mm-hmm. So always open to try new stuff. If it doesn't work, it's fine. At least we've tried.
Yeah.
That's typically the mindset that I was looking for. When I was shifting to a new company.
Having that startup kind of culture where everybody's voice is heard, everybody can contribute.
Exactly.
There are not too many barriers that you have to skip through to get your idea out there.
Exactly. So, every day I'm talking to him directly. Mm-hmm. In big companies, if you have an idea, by the time it reaches the CEO, you have a lot of different positions to pass by, a lot of hierarchy, politics, internally, whatever. Doesn't exist in such small companies with the startup spirits.
Okay, so now tell us about the new watch. Walk us through it, because I have just seen this a few minutes ago. I don't even know the specifications. What is happening here?
So this new watch here is HM11, so Horological Machine No.11. It's the 21st caliber that we're releasing in 18 years.
Wow.
So last year, you might recall the Chrono Sequential that we released. And so the Legacy Machine Sequential Evo.
Yeah.
It was the 20th caliber in 17 years, which is huge for such a small company. And basically at MB&F, every year we have a new caliber coming out. In the past, we had some years with 2 calibers coming out on the same year, but never again. It was a bit of a nightmare. So now we have basically 1 new caliber coming out every year. Sometimes it's a legacy machine. You might know this one a bit more. So the one I'm wearing now, actually. Mm-hmm. So those round shape, which are more of legacy to the traditional watchmaking, what would have Max created 150 years ago.
Yeah.
So much more classic, although it's not very classic for the watch industry, but classic for us.
What Abraham Louis Breguet might have created now. Like that's how I imagine it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we have those horological machines. So this one is the 12th horological machine already. Mm-hmm. All the previous HMs, they were always inspired by Max's childhood or his passion for car design, automotive design. So he wanted to be a car designer when he was younger. And so we have many watches linked to the car world, but also many watches linked to the, space and the mangas that he was watching when he was a child and all those kinds of childhood memories. And now for the first time, it's actually a watch which is inspired by one of his current passion, which is architecture. So I know that you've been working in this field in the past, so that's most probably something that resonates with you.
Yeah.
It's mainly inspired by the architecture of the late 50s and the 60s. Back then they were building those crazy houses, very uncommon shape houses. You can see on internet there are many different houses, not always with the same style, many different styles, but very uncommon and very unusual.
Yeah.
And so this one is basically inspired by this wave, this era of architecture. So basically it's a little house. Every project that we start at MB&F starts with the question, wouldn't it be cool if? And this one is typically, wouldn't it be cool if we would create a house for the wrist with 4 different rooms? So you have 4 rooms with 4 different indication, 4 different modules, 4 different functions.
Yeah.
One here, which is the indication of hour and minute. Another one here, which is the power reserve indicator. The third one here is a thermometer, because again, wouldn't it be cool if you would have the temperature of the house? So we made a thermometer. And this one, the fourth one, is the first ever sapphire crown. So you can basically see the movement through the crown. It's a full sapphire, very complex crown. I'll get back to the complexity of the case and the crown in a minute. And this crown is only here to set the time. Because to wind the movement, and that's also something I've never seen before, I think it's a world premiere, you basically wind, rotate the entire case.
This is awesome.
It's very cool, very unusual, quite new for the industry, I guess. So 10 full rotation to fully charge the movement. You have 96 hours of power reserve, so 4 days. And the winding system is quite efficient because every 45 degrees, so just by doing that, I had 72 minutes to the movement. So more than an hour of power reserve just by doing this.
Plus you can rotate it to look at the thing that you want to look at, the function that you want.
Exactly. So you have 8 different positions. So every 45 degrees you have a different position. You can either have it straight on the bracelets or you can stop it in between. And as you just said, you can decide which indication you want to have. Today I want to have the temperature and the power reserve. Tomorrow I want to have the hour and the minute. So you're free to decide. Here in the center, you can see also the flying tourbillon. So there is a 60-second flying tourbillon in the center. It's a titanium case, so pretty light, pretty compact, 42 millimeter. As I said before, it's a very complex case. You have 92 components just in the case.
Wow.
It was a big challenge to make this piece waterproof. There are 19 different gaskets in this watch. 19 in the watch, 8 in the crown. To give you an idea, on this HM11, you have only 6 gaskets. Here you have 8 gaskets just in the crown.
Wow.
So big challenge for this. The other big challenge for this piece is for the assembly, because it's quite unusual, but to do the assembly of this piece, you need to do it inside the case. Because of the modules are pretty big, and the case is pretty complex and pretty close. You cannot fit the movement with the modules inside the case. So what the watchmaker has to do is to first work on the base plate, puts it inside the case, and once it's inside the case, finish the assembly. So bring in one by one all the different modules and finish the assembly inside the case.
Oh, so it's not built in isolation. It's built with everything is kind of connected.
Exactly. So it's a construction of the movement which is pretty unusual, totally new. So it's an in-house caliber that we've developed just for that piece. So when we say that we've made 21 caliber in 18 years, it's pretty insane because it's not taking an existing caliber and adding a complication.
Yeah.
It's really starting from scratch, although there are some elements that now we know because we've used on previous machines, but the construction itself of the movement is completely new.
How long did this take from the idea until the final product, do you think, in terms of the production?
So every single watch that we produce is always between 4 to 5 years between the research development, the first idea, the first sketch, and the actual product coming out. So in general, we say that it's more or less 1 to 2 years for the design. Sometimes it's much more. Max has been working on some projects since many, many years. Then he put them on the side, working on other projects. And then he goes back to this project and works on the conception. But in average, I would say 1 to 2 years of design. So design from the first idea to the final case, more or less. And then about 3 years for the conception of the movement.
Okay.
So overall, 4 or 5 years, depending on the complexity of the watch.
When you look at architecture and watches, a lot of times it is the Bauhaus, the minimalist, the modernist design language that's translated into a watch.
Absolutely.
And into furniture, into a lot of things. But you guys went with the 1950s and the 60s era, which was the postmodernism. This was the absolute rock star moment. This was the Gerald Genta moment of architecture, the Led Zeppelin moment,
Absolutely.
where everything is rebelling. It was a response to the design language and design era that lacked personality. So this is where, that's why you see these houses with insane designs.
Exactly.
So it's really interesting that you guys, that Max came up with this. He chose this particular era to work with.
If you know Max, it kind of makes sense. He's always going into those very unusual and crazy shape. I wouldn't see him going for the traditional square houses. He's much more into those, as you said, the postmodernism shape and construction, hence the HM11.
And I love the fact that the whole house is like a centric house, and then you have these different spaces, but then there's that living space in the middle that kind of connects all of those houses, that brings everything together. And
exactly,
you have the movement in the middle that's powering all of those different four functions on all of those different ends. And even the fact that the indices on the dial are inspired by a wall clock, which is something that you would find in a house.
Exactly.
So it's a literal wall clock that the indices on this watch are inspired by. So there is a lot of, when you look at it, you might see these different random kind of things happening, but there's a lot of deeper connection between them. Everything is well connected.
Exactly, and there are many, many details in this watch that when you know about design and when you appreciate such things, you will realize. So you just mentioned, for example, the hours and minute indication. Usually in architecture, you always try to have a good use of the space. Here, the rooms are very deep. And so, of course, we didn't want to have a flat dial, flat indexes.
Yeah.
So we made those very long and very deep indexes with different tiny, tiny balls at the end as the index, 2 different colors. So you have some aluminum balls, the lighter ones, and then some titanium ones, darker, for better readability, more contrast. But all those little details inside the watch, you have 2 conical gearings, very complicated. You have 3-dimensional gaskets. You have many things that when you start looking into it, you have references of previous creations or other design elements that are very complicated and very interesting.
In terms of watchmaking and in terms of design
Exactly.
theories, I think this is the kind of design where you're gonna keep finding new things the more you look at it.
Absolutely.
It's not just, you know, you look at it once and then that's it.
Exactly.
There's a lot of element of discovery within this
Absolutely.
watch, which is quite interesting.
That's
really
always what we
fascinating.
try to do with those MB&F watches is that first of all it's constantly moving, so you always have this either tourbillon or flying balance wheel, which is really captivating. That's the heart of the watch, as you said before. So usually on those legacy machines you always have the balance wheel in the center. It's the heart beating of the watch and we want to see it. We love anything in movement, so we love to have this kinetic piece in the center of the watch. And as you said, it's the center, it's the living room, it's what gives the power to every single room. That's what makes the house, you know, work.
Well, Arnaud, thank you so much. This
My
was
pleasure.
awesome, and hope to speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Cheers.